I want to just ask, was your mom in line with this? Did she just agree? Was she there?
She
Was she
didn't
present?
really know either. Yeah, I mean, imagine we were both on stage, and all of a sudden, my mom's on stage, I'm on stage. My dad says to 5,000 people, "My son's taking over." And I look at my mom across the stage, and she looks at me, and she didn't know. And it was just the thing, right? It was just
Yeah.
what was happening. And so I knew in that moment that this was not my path. And my heart sank in a certain sense because I knew I wanted to help people, but I just knew this wasn't aligned. I knew
Yeah.
this wasn't my destiny, at least the form with which I felt called to
Right.
express. And so I was just too afraid. And my fear was, if I tell my truth, if I dare to be who I am, I'm going to lose my father. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be outcast. The community won't love me. And so, like many of us, I think we allow fear to hijack our authentic expression. And I said nothing for 4 years, went along with it. But all the while trying to convince myself that, no, I could do this. Maybe I can make this work. I can make this happen. Sometimes what your soul guides you to do doesn't always make sense to your logic, doesn't always make sense to your ego or your mind. But I really believe that when we dare to follow our soul, when we follow our soul without compromise, I really believe that we will always end up in the right place and we'll always be guided in the right path, even though the route that we take may not be the one that we most expect. And so I knew what I had to do, because as I looked into my future, the alternative was I take over my father's church and I take it to the next level, become successful. But I thought, what kind of success is it to succeed by the world standards? But if you don't have yourself, if you don't have your peace, if you don't have your integrity, and I felt the pain of my own self-betrayal. And I thought, shit, if I start lying to myself now, I'm going to have to live the rest of my life living a lie. And that felt so painful, age 20, age 30, age 40, age 50. It felt so painful that I knew I couldn't do it. And it was hard. It was difficult. It was terrifying because, I'm 18, I have no money, I have no support from my father. I'm going to be by myself. I have no college degree. What are my prospects in life? I want to go to the self-help field. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. At least back now, it's become a bit of a thing with YouTube. But back then, there was nothing. And so I had the conversation with my father. And I think that was the day the trajectory of my life shifted. And I let go of everything I knew, renounced everything, and said, I'm not taking over. My father and I, we didn't speak for 2 to 3 years, which was deeply challenging. And that's when I said a prayer to God. And I said, God, you have given me a vision. I was on the verge of giving up, but I felt like, universe, you've given me a vision and I feel it and I sense it and I feel I'm meant to reach millions of people in my lifetime. And so don't leave me now, basically.
Do you want to talk about how you came up with The Magic of Surrender?
Yeah, The Magic of Surrender, honestly, it was not the book I wanted to write.
Why is that?
It was not the book I even thought I would write, to be honest. I sat down one day. My first book had done really very well. It was a national bestseller. You Are the One. And I wanted to write. I thought, I'm going to write another amazing best-selling book. It's going to get me on Oprah. It's going to do this. A New York Times bestseller, right? And so I sat down with a whiteboard and started coming up with all of these clever ideas, at least Kute's clever ideas, right? And I brainstormed 50, 75, 100 titles that I thought would be amazing titles, different topics, different angles of what I thought my publisher would want, what I thought the world wanted, what I thought my clients would want, what I thought would build my brand. But the truth is, they were all brilliant ideas, but none of the ideas felt authentic. None of the ideas felt really aligned and true in my being, in my body, in my gut, in my soul. I couldn't look you in the eyes and say, this is the book. This is what feels in integrity. And the only word on this whiteboard that I felt a resonance with was the word surrender. It was like a light around it. And I thought, oh shit, surrender. I don't know if I want to even go there because, we have all of these misconceptions about surrender. And so I was resisting and I had to surrender to the book about surrender. And when I saw that this was the book that was seeking to be written, and this was the book that had a soul of its own, and I could lie to myself about it, but the energy felt so clear that this is what is seeking to come through. And I could have resisted it. And I think many of us, we get sick, we get depressed, we feel tired, we feel exhausted because we're so busy resisting what's true, resisting our destiny, resisting our calling, resisting our purpose. And so I said yes to it.
What are some steps that they can take to help themselves?
Sure. Look, I would just want to sort of frame it to say, I don't think there's a one-step formula for
Right.
everybody, because
Of
everybody
course.
is different. We're
Yeah.
all human beings and we all need different things in different moments. But what I will say is, in a general sense, if someone is wondering where they can begin, I think one simple but very real place to start, that if they begin here, life will begin to transform for sure. Doesn't matter where you are. One of the things as human beings that keeps us stuck are all the ways that we lie to ourselves. In so many ways, consciously or unconsciously, we lie to ourselves. We BS ourselves and we rationalize the lies and excuses as an unconscious self-protective mechanism to keep the status quo. We stay in relationships that we know are not aligned, are not true, are not aligned, are not authentic. We work jobs that we hate, that is not a true expression of our purpose. We say yes when we mean no. We betray our integrity. I mean, the list goes on, and we can get into the reasons why. And so I think that one place where people can start is to begin to look at and ask themselves the question, what lies am I telling myself? There is no transformation without truth. There is no true freedom without truth. The truth will set us free. To me, truth is real yoga. Truth is real, like real spirituality isn't just prayers and mantras and, yoga postures. It's telling yourself the freaking truth about who you are, about what you feel, about what's not so. Yet I think in so many ways, like as a child, I was too afraid to tell my truth to my father because I was afraid of the consequences. And so what I would just encourage people as a support is, don't put any pressure on yourself of taking action, to take action. Because sometimes the fear of the consequence of taking the action by telling the truth is what freaks us out. And so unconsciously, we start playing this game of confusion. I don't know. I don't know what I really feel. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what's really true. I'm not sure if this relationship is right for me. When deep down we know, because there's a part of us at the deepest level that is connected to everything, because at that deepest level we are everything. And so we know, if we're really honest, we have a sense. If we're really honest, we know something's not aligned here. But because we're afraid of the consequences, so I tell people, take off the pressure of taking action and just acknowledge the truth.
Did you suggest doing that in meditation, having the quiet, or journaling, or both, either,
Yeah, I
whatever
think
resonates?
both.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think sometimes we keep ourselves so busy as human beings. We run around, we're so busy, 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 busy. And I think that was one of the interesting things about this pandemic experience, where
Yeah.
for the first time we couldn't go anywhere and we couldn't run around, and it freaked us out because, oh, shoot, now I can't stay busy. Because I think many times we're afraid of not being busy because we're afraid, if I am not busy, then I might actually listen and be still and hear some truth that I don't want to hear. But if I distract myself, then I won't actually have to hear it. And so I would invite people, create time and space in your daily life to be still.
Mm.
In that stillness, just listen. In that listening, yes, meditate. But also sometimes the danger becomes we use meditation as a way, or a spiritual bypass, to bypass the feeling, the true feeling. Let me just meditate this feeling away. Let me just spiritualize this feeling away. It's all good. It's all God. Let me just transcend it away, rather than just integrate it and acknowledge, like, this hurts. I'm not going to distract myself. I'm not going to meditate away. I'm going to face it. And so, yes, journal, write about it. Get your truth out without any filter. That begins that process. Even if someone were to just say, you know what, for 15 minutes a day, I'm going to sit and just do nothing, no phones, no devices, and just see what's present. To me, that's a start. Just to sit and just do nothing and just be with oneself. That's a huge start. Then you can journal and see what's there, and then see what's next. So to me, every one of us listening to this conversation, we incarnated at this particular time in human history for a reason. It's no accident that you incarnated. It's no accident that you're here. Your soul chose to be here, and we can no longer go to sleep or be in a coma. It's time for us all to wake up and participate in the grand process of evolution that is happening. To me, I'm excited.